Welcome to my brand new series where we are going to be doing how-to videos like how to start your collection like a pro, how to sell your cards, how to find the best cards to get graded, stuff like that. So I'll be doing at least one of these per month, maybe more. And then two, since we're talking about starting a Pokemon collection, you kind of got to know a little bit about everything. So we're going to be covering everything today, and then I'm going to do more how-to videos like more in-depth on some of these topics that we're going to cover today. But before we get started, we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is PokeNotify. If you guys are sick and tired of missing out on all these drops and you guys signed up for all the free Discords and signed up for all the store alerts and still haven't been able to get anything, give PokeNotify a try. They even have a 3-day free trial. And then two, if you use PokeBeard 25 at checkout, you receive 25% off your first month. But all right, let's get into it. We are talking about how to start and grow your collection. And like I said, this is going to be for all different levels. So let's start with the most important thing. The most important thing is you have to figure out exactly what you want to collect. So if you guys are serious about this, what I want you to do, I want you to look through every single set. So maybe right now you're not interested in any vintage cards, but you never know, a year or two from now, you might be, and they might be way more expensive than they were when you started. So you might as well just look through all of these sets and figure out if you like any of these cards. It really does not take that long. I've done it thousands of times. And then I want you to make a couple lists. So I want you to make a list of all of your favorite Pokemon cards when you look through these. And then I also want you to make a list of all of your favorite Pokemon. I want you to look through every single generation and pick your top 5 Pokemon and then maybe narrow it down to like your top 3. But that's going to help you to figure out exactly what you want to collect and figure out, what your favorite Pokemon truly are. So take some time, sit down and actually think about it. And now we're going to go through what I collected. So since I've been collecting, for 26 years now, since English Pokemon has started, I have, collected basically a little bit of everything. So for the base set series, I have all of these sets complete in Unlimited and First Edition, and Shadowless for base set. The Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, I have that Unlimited First Edition. I have all the Topps cards, and then the Neo sets, I have those all mastered. But look at how many sets were released for the entire Neo era. That's why, it's a little easier to master those sets, especially back then when it was dirt cheap. Now it's just so expensive. And then Legendary Collection, I got that master set. And then the E-Card series, I got these all master setted. But now look at the jump of sets from the E-Card series to the EX Ruby and Sapphire series. So this is when I stopped doing master sets. Now, since I have been here forever, I like a little bit of everything from each generation and era. So for the EX sets, I collected all of the EX cards. They do have some nice holos and stuff, but I don't feel like they pop as good as the original ones, like the Wizards of the Coast holos. So I just collected all the EX cards. Very easy, there's like 5-10 of them per set. And then, we get into a little bit better sets and like EX Holland Phantoms and stuff. And then they have the Gold Star Pokemon. And then I also still collected all the EXs. So that's what I did for every single era. So now we're in the Diamond and Pearl era. So instead of doing all these master sets, I just collected all of the level X cards. Like this set literally has 2 of them, Gardevoir level X and the Honchkrow. Super easy. I went through, did all those for Diamond and Pearl. I don't have a ton of the Pop series. I have some of them. And then we get the Platinum. So if you look at Platinum Arceus, one of my favorite sets, we got more level X cards. And then we even have these shinies down here. There's not very many shinies. There's like 12 of them. Super easy to collect. And then we have all these Arceus cards here. There's only 9 of them. Again, another little small subset to collect. I love doing that. And then, like I said, I got all the level X's. And then we get to the Heart Gold, Soul Silver era. And that's when I started collecting the Legend cards, where it takes 2 cards to make a picture. I also collected all the Prime cards and all of these energies. And then I even collected the lithographs because I love Unknown. So you just got to simplify it. But if you think about it, I have the rarest cards from all of these eras. And literally, I see people with collections with so many binders, and they spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all these binders, when my stuff, a lot of these, I can fit multiple eras in one binder, and it's not even that full. So, Call of Legends, they have these awesome shiny cards, all of these SL cards, got to get all those. And then Black and White, we got those first pure gold cards and the white card and the black card, so I got all those. So that's why it helps a ton to figure out exactly what you want to collect. And, I did that all the way up here, for Sun and Moon. I did all the tag team cards. Now for Sword and Shield, I did all the Trainer Gallery cards, the Alternate Art cards, and then I did Master Set Crown Zenith because that was the funnest set in all of Pokemon history to open. I also Master Setted Celebrations, but, I just got every single Alternate Art card. And then for Scarlet and Violet era, I just do the illustration rares and special illustration rares. So that's how I collect. I feel like it's the safest way because you're getting the best cards possible instead of spending so much money on, cards you might not like. You might not be the biggest fan of trainers. I don't even really like trainers. I don't collect a ton of them unless they have Pokemon in them. And then, the full arts, the gold cards. Some people hate gold cards. And if you're doing a master set, you got to get the gold cards. And I see so many new people in the hobby that feel like they have to rip open packs in order to collect these cards. Like, I literally have heard people say they're sentimental collectors and they only collect cards that they pull. I mean, you can definitely do that, but you're going to be wasting a ton of money. And I'm not saying don't ever open up Pokemon cards. What I like to do is, when a set comes out, maybe get a booster box or an ETB or something. If you can get it for a good deal, do not pay these crazy prices on the secondary market. And then, open it on release. And then if I don't get anything after that, I'm pretty much done. The only thing I'll ever really do randomly is maybe grab a booster bundle or like a sleeve booster, a couple of them, if I see them at Target or Walmart, and take your chance there. And then make sure you're doing it of a set that you need cards in or something. So many new people, when they start out, they'll find just a random set like Temporal Forces or something. And they'll open up a bunch of those, and then they're like, oh, I got a master set, that set, because they opened that. Now, master sets, they do look pretty nice in the binder, but I am telling you, they are so tough to sell. I've tried to sell many, many master sets in my day that I've bought on eBay and stuff. The only place they really sell, honestly, is on eBay, or you're just going to get super lowballed on like Facebook Marketplace or anything like that. So that's why I try to stay away from doing these modern master sets. The vintage ones I like a little more because we had way less sets, so we had a lot more time to collect those cards compared to now where they're just pumping out these sets like crazy and we just have so many sets. That's why it helps to just narrow down your collection. Now, I see a lot of people spend a ton of money on binders, like I said, and they got to get these big, heavy top loader binders. I don't mind top loader binders. They are really big and they're kind of annoying to lug around, and a lot of times they are overkill. Like, I'll see top loader binders for like basic EXs and stuff, but in my opinion, all you really need is some good sleeves and a good binder, and you're good to go. So I like the Dragon Shield sleeves. This is not a sponsor. I tried, but they have the clear sleeves, and these are like meant to actually like play Magic the Gathering and stuff and like the TCG with. So they are super thick, and then you throw them in a nice zip up binder and you're good to go. I do like the zip up binders over the other ones just in case, like if anything gets spilt. I've had leaks before, so you never know what's going to happen. Now for binders, Vault X is probably the king of binders right now. And some of these binders go for a ton of money on the secondary market, which I think is kind of crazy. I would much rather spend the money on the Pokemon cards first. Maybe at the end when your collection is all done, that's when I say spend the money on these super nice binders and like try to get your collection to be a little bit different. But there's a lot of different binders, like I said. Even Rock Sandy has his own binder called Card Prison, which holds regular top-loaded cards and sleeve cards. That's a super cool binder. But just don't go crazy. I see so many people have like 15 binders, and literally it's like 15, 25% completed master sets. And it's like, for the price of all those binders, you could have completed a couple master sets because it really starts to add up. Now we're going to talk about where to buy your cards online. So I see a lot of people buying cards on TCG Player when I would never in a million years buy cards on TCG Player unless it's dirt cheap and you're getting them in bulk. Because then sometimes you can get the cards for like 50 cents a card, where on eBay you can't really get it like that. So I mean, look at, if you wanted to buy the Giratina V on TCG Player, you got one with a picture right here, and then just the rest don't even have pictures. Then you hop to eBay, ton of these have pictures. And I've been selling on eBay for, I don't know, like 15 years. I have like 25,000 sales on eBay. I know a lot of people are scared of eBay and, they're scared of getting scammed, but I'm telling you, eBay's been around forever. And honestly, eBay sides with the buyer a lot more than the seller. As long as you're reading descriptions and stuff and they have a decent seller rating, you're good to go. And do not be afraid to ask for more pictures for sure. I see so many people, just afraid to message all these eBay sellers because on TCG Player, you can't even message them until you buy the card. So definitely just message them if you have any more questions or need more pictures, especially if we're talking high-end cards. You can also buy on Facebook Marketplace, but just know all the vendors in the area are on top of this. So maybe if you just see a new lot right away that hit, message them quick and you might get it for a good deal. But if there's a good deal on Facebook Marketplace, all the vendors are all over that. And then you can also go to card shows too. Just know you're not going to get the best deals at card shows. You're going to be around market. You might be able to get a little less if you're kind of buying in bulk. But the best way to get the most cards, like let's say you're not too picky and you want to get, shiny cards and full art cards and illustration rares and trainer galleries, you can find a really nice lot on eBay sometimes that'll have exactly everything that you want. And then what's nice, if it has a few things that you don't want, then you can start a trade binder and you can start trading people or maybe even selling those cards. And you can start your own TCG player or eBay. And then that way you can start buying these lots, selling the cards you don't like, and then you start keeping the cards you like, and then maybe get a couple of them graded. And that way you're rolling. Like that is literally how I got 99% of all of my super high-end cards. Like I have some very, very expensive cards, and the most money I've ever paid for a card is like $2,000. And that is like the most money by a lot. And that was my first edition Shadowless Charizard. Yeah, I would just buy big lots, get the best cards graded, sell those, keep the 1 or 2 cards that I needed. And, that's literally how I got them all. And then you can do different things too. You can type in Pokemon card lot, Pokemon card collection, Pokemon card binder, and then you can do auction ending soon. You can also do buy it now, newly listed. Now you got to be quick on some of those because if it is a super good deal, it'll go really, really fast. And here's a super easy way to just tell if a lot is a good deal. You can just kind of count the cards. So if it's a lot that has a ton of illustration rares or something, like let's say this little lot right here. So you can kind of just count the cards. You can look them all up individually, of course, too, if you got the time, if it's on auction and it's, a couple days, so you can figure out exactly what it is, which I do recommend doing. But let's say, you got 2 minutes left to look at this auction and this thing's about to end. You can kind of just count the cards, look up the cards that are worth a decent amount, and, kind of figure out exactly what you're paying per card. So if it's a 80 card lot and it goes for $100, you're paying a little bit over $1 per card. But like I said, definitely look up the cards so you know the exact value. Sometimes they will have like the TCG value in the description, but a lot of times they will lie about that too. I have noticed that. But all right, now let's talk about graded cards. So I'm not the biggest fan of spending thousands of dollars on these new modern cards with super high pops. I'm not saying these will not do good in the future. They definitely have a very good chance of doing good, especially these super popular ones like the Umbreon VMAX. I mean, even the Gray Felt Hat Pikachu has one of the highest pops I've seen, like 30, 40,000 in a PSA 10. And that card literally just keeps going up in price. And now this is where your favorite Pokemon are going to come into play. If you're going to get some of these super high-end PSA 10 cards, which could come down in price a lot. I mean, Charizard was literally $1,000 and now last sold $725, $699, $680. So someone who bought this at $1,000 is literally down $400 already. So just make sure it's of a card that you really, really enjoy, to where if it does go down in price, it's not nearly as rough to swallow. And then 2, I like to invest more in the lower pop cards like this Blastoise and Piplup Tag Team card. Population of 1,140 in a 10. Nobody is going to be opening up Cosmic Eclipse anymore, really. So the pop really isn't going to get too much higher. And I mean, look at the price, just keeps going up and up. Last sold in a 10, $999, $999, $899. So I feel much safer investing in the cards like this. Maybe not when they're just going straight up like that. But, the lower pops, especially with these beautiful alternate arts, I just feel like it's a little bit safer. And there are some new modern cards that are actually pretty tough to grade. I feel like those are also slightly better buys, like the Tyranitar from Paldea Evolved. The pop is 1,182 in a 10, 3,104 in a 9, and 1,408 in an 8. So, I mean, there's more 8s than 10s. So it's definitely a little tougher to grade. And I mean, look at the chart. It just keeps slowly climbing too. Last sold in a 10, 391, 380, 375. We got one at 610. I feel like I said it was a good deal to pick this up at about 290, and it's still going. Now, another thing I see a lot of people do that just start out, they spend so much money on these graded guards. And I will admit, they do look very nice. But this, again, is like an end of the collection type of thing to kind of ball your collection out. Or, if it's maybe of your all-time favorite card, you could get one. But these get very, very expensive. I'm talking, hundreds of dollars sometimes for some of these. Because they do limited drops and they make it feel like it's super rare and stuff. So just don't do that yet. Let's grow the collection first. Same thing with the binders. Don't buy 50 binders right away. Just buy yourself maybe 1 or 2 nice binders. Get some good sleeves. Or if you're doing a top loader binder, you can definitely do that also. But all right, now we're going to talk a little bit about grading cards. And like I said, I'm going to do a lot more in-depth videos on all this. So for graded cards, a lot of times I like to just literally look at other grading companies that are not super popular. The amount of times you can get really, really good deals is kind of crazy. And then you can crack them out of the slab. You can grade them with PSA. Or, you have really, really nice binder copies for dirt cheap. Like some CGC 6s, 7s, and 8s of some very nice vintage cards go for so much less than some of the PSA prices. So always keep your eye out for that. Now, in my opinion, if you are going to collect graded cards, I would probably go with PSA right now. It's just the easiest to sell. Pretty much everybody collects it. I mean, you try to bring CGC to a card show and almost nobody is buying it unless they are of like higher end cards, like gold stars or crystal cards or something like that. And then also, I know a lot of new people coming to the hobby and they just want to grade everything. Please be picky with that. Only grade your best possible cards. You're going to be wasting a ton of money. I'm also going to do another video on that. All right, next we're going to talk about Japanese cards. Then we're going to talk about sealed collections. So Japanese cards, they are definitely much better quality. The texture is crazy on them and they're much cheaper. But here's the thing, they're much harder to sell. Again, you bring Japanese cards to a card show, not too many people are going to be buying them. Now, if we're just talking pure collection and you really, really want the card and it's just so much more expensive for English, you know, then you could definitely do it. But I mean, there's a lot of cards. I mean, the Ho-Oh is literally the same price for English as it is for Japanese. I mean, the Charizard's a little bit cheaper. Some of the cards are relatively the same price. Even the Lili's Clefairy is more on the Japanese side than it is on the English side. I always see people say Japanese is always so much cheaper, but I mean, look at the Gardevoir from Scarlet and Violet base set. It's $100. Ours is not $100. It's like $40. Even their Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames or Ruler of the Black Flame for them is $100. So not all Japanese cards are super, super cheap. Some of them can definitely be pretty expensive. So like I said, you know, only really collect them if it's a super good deal, like way cheaper, and if it's of a card you really, really love to where you don't care if you ever sell it and you just have it for the rest of your life. Now, the Japanese cards I like to get are, you know, a little bit more on the exclusive side. These are the Scream cards. These are a lot more expensive. There's a lot of cheaper exclusive Japanese cards, but at least we're getting stuff that we're not getting in English, so it feels a little bit more special. And same with the new Chinese cards that are coming out. A lot of those look very, very nice, like the Umbreon, and, you know, we got other evolutions. But yeah, the Scream cards are pretty cool, as you can see, pretty expensive. $8.99 for PSA 10, $4.50 raw, $2.44 raw for the Rowlet. And then they also have like poncho cards, which can be very expensive. They got the cheaper ones, which are like $300 to $500. And then they got the full arts, which are just crazy expensive. But, you know, these were not this expensive a year or two ago. They have gone absolutely crazy. But if you're going to do Japanese, I would just stick with more of the exclusive stuff. I feel like it's much safer. Again, probably not at these prices because these cards are going absolutely crazy. But like the Pikachu 2023 World Championship card, beautiful special art rare, one of my favorite ones. I bought it at $150 in a PSA 10. It's at like $350 now in a PSA 10, and I could see it going higher. You know, cards like that, there's still a lot of very affordable ones. Even like the Red's Pikachu, which is going up in price right now, but it's still not too expensive. All right, then we're going to talk about sealed products. So if we're talking a sealed collection, in my opinion, ETBs are the best looking for display-wise. I mean, just looking at the booster box compared to that ETB, I feel like it's not even close. And if you're going to collect ETBs, try to get Pokemon Center ETBs if you can. It's got the Pokemon Center stamp on it and a little bit different art. But again, we are getting the best ETBs we've ever gotten. So if you look at all of ETB history, I mean, we're getting 9 packs now with a beautiful illustration rare. I mean, in the Sword and Shield era, we got 8 packs with nothing. You know, and they were $5 cheaper, or whatever it was. So the regular ETBs now for the Scarlet and Violet era are very solid. Not at these market prices, but if you can find them in the store, you know, or maybe for a really good bundle deal on Facebook Marketplace, that is very solid. Now, booster boxes are the best sealed product you can get, but I do think ETBs look a little better, like display-wise. I think they look cooler. And like I said, if you're getting Pokemon Center ETBs, you know, those are basically the second best sealed product you can get. And then if you want to be a big baller, sealed cases of booster boxes where you have 6 booster boxes per case. I mean, that's pretty much the best sealed product you can get. And then we're going to end on collection boxes. These are absolutely beautiful for display. You know, not all collection boxes are very nice, but when we're talking actual alternate arts in there with a good pack, I mean, a good Pokemon, we got Vaporeon here. That is a perfect collection box. Just know if you're trying to collect a bunch of these, they can get damaged pretty easily and you'll end up tearing them and stuff like that. So you got to be careful with them. And if you're saying, you know, it's $288, I can't get that. Well, look at the new Victini black and white box that's coming out. Literally has a beautiful jumbo illustration rare in there with the Victini. I mean, Victini's not the most popular Pokemon, but I feel like it's middle tier for sure. But I'm a big fan of Victini, and this would be an absolutely beautiful box, and this would be awesome for display for sure. So, you know, there are a lot of different options. You can even get sleeve boosters, and you can buy one of these sleeve booster displays. They're like $60 to like $120 on eBay. Not that expensive, and they look so nice. And sleeve boosters, you know, you can just keep grabbing a couple from Walmart or Target or ordering a couple cooler ones online from older sets, and it looks so nice for display. But alright, that was today's video. I feel like I did a lot of rambling, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it and got some info in here. And I'm going to be doing more how-to videos for sure. Let me know down below if there's any how-to videos you guys want me to do. I'll add it to the list. And if there's anything that I missed in this video that you guys want to add down below in the comments for people, please do that so then everybody can just come here and get all the information they need. But alright, if you guys like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But alright, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you want to watch my last vending video, which was a blast, I brought my buddy who knows nothing about Pokemon. It was a super good time. Watch this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.